we're back, everyone.
Oh, a little glitch there.
Yeah.
And we're working through it. Let's get to our next guest. The days of the thermometer under the tongue are long. And our next guest is part of the next wave of temperature technology. We're welcoming Dr. William Yates from Yates Protect to join us now. Tell us about the high-tech thermometers that are keeping hospitals, schools, and businesses safe. Dr. Yates, thanks for being here. Thank you so much. Let's explain some of the technology that you guys are working on and how you think that'll end up advancing us through this time.
Right now is non-contact infrared thermal scanners. So everybody gives off a certain amount of heat, and our scanners can pick up what your temperature is. The CDC says anybody with a fever is considered over 100.4. So our scanners detect your heat and can tell you within a second. Very reliable, allows for social distancing, but you don't have to stand close to our sensors. You can stand a foot away. So why is this important? Because people with COVID, 80% of the people who are symptomatic, they have a fever. So it's a good screening tool. And according to Dr. Fauci, that everybody should wear a mask, be separated 6 feet apart, take their temperature and do testing, because we know what causes the virus. We just don't know how to treat it appropriately yet. And we also know every day in the United States, the numbers of cases are growing. It's in the thousands. There are countries where there are no cases of coronavirus, so we're not doing our part. So our business is trying to make it so those case numbers every day decrease instead of increase.
A video of this walk-through temperature system, which is pretty high.
If they have an elevated temperature, they are
These
screened again
is that
with a handheld
for
infrared forehead thermometer.
like,
If a person's
they rely more on
temperature
ones that we see
exceeds the company's
seeing right now. The
standard,
that is
he or
just a
she
little
is
almost. These are.
Yeah, that's a good question. Our company has a variety of the non-contact infrared scanners, from low end, the handheld, to the high end, a scanner, which is a digital camera and can take the temperatures of 50 people at once. The sweet spot in the middle is the walk-through detectors, and one behind me that looks like an iPad. Those are fairly affordable. They're better actually than the handheld scanners in that they're more accurate, they're more durable, and just the optics look better. We've sold hundreds of these units to schools. The handheld unit is a good starter. It's a good place to start, but since COVID is not going away, I would get one of the other scanners, either the walkthrough or the scanner that looks like an iPad, because they're more durable, they're interactive, because people can actually see what their temperature is when they're walking through or they place their face in the screen. Because a lot of time when you use the handhelds, people are in disbelief because they can't see the temperature on the other side. And they see somebody and they tell them, hey, you have a fever. They're like, no, I don't have a fever. But our equipment is interactive. You put your face in the screen, it tells you immediately what your temperature is. So it's interactive with you. And yeah, they're very affordable. Schools are buying it, and the government know how to prevent it. That businesses would be remiss if they didn't take the responsibility and limit exposure, taking temperatures of everyone that comes in. And it always comes back and they say, well, Dr. Yates, are you invading people's privacy when you take their temperature? When you think about what is at stake, people's lives, we've lost 139,000 people to COVID in the United States. That's about the size of the town of Green Bay. The EEOC says it's perfectly acceptable to take temperatures in a pandemic as long as you don't discriminate, meaning that you don't take my temperature and don't take somebody else's temperature. All for one, one for all.
Let me ask.
Oh, looks like we just lost Amy. You mentioned the different types of recognitions you have and the different machines. Oh, Amy, I want to go and ask that question. Sorry.
Let me ask, how are these scanners? Because, you know, as a mom, you know, we're taught the rectal thermometer is always the best way to go. There's the under the arm, there's the under the tongue, and each have varying degrees of accuracy. So this one doesn't touch the body. Is it going to be as accurate as those other methods?
Man, you're almost a doctor. That's a good question. That gets right to the crux of the matter. The most accurate temperature that you can take on somebody is going to be a rectal temperature. And we know that that's kind of out of the question when you go to a restaurant or, you know, in public.
Day.
No, right.
Oh,
That's not going to be a happy day when you go, you know, out. So To replace that, we have infrared thermal scanners. It's the same kind of technology that's used in night vision. You know, you see the soldiers looking through the trees at night because humans give off infrared radiation. So we measure that radiation. It's very accurate. The downfall is it only measures your surface temperature. So your core temperature should be in the range of 98.6. Your surface temperature, which these scanners measure, is usually 1 degree lower than that. So you always have to factor that in. They're accurate to about 0.5 degree Fahrenheit up or down. So they're very accurate. All these equipment with infrared scanners are used in hospital emergency rooms long before COVID started. So these applications aren't new. They were used in plenty ERs in the United States and everywhere long before COVID with accuracy. If somebody's hot, they will show up with the fever. And it's good to know a fever's not normal. A lot of people say, oh, everybody has a fever. That's not true. You can't will yourself to have a fever. A fever is controlled by your brain, something called the hypothalamus that sets your thermostat. So if you have a fever, trust me, something is wrong. You shouldn't be in the workplace. In the past, people would go to work and they'd feel like, oh, I don't feel good, but I have to go to work and be strong. I think what we've learned from COVID is if you're sick, if you have a fever, you need to stay home, whether you have COVID or not. You have something that you shouldn't be at work or at a restaurant and spread.
Let me ask you this though. What if I had just gone for a jog and I'm jumping into a coffee shop and the scanner's there? Is it going to read me as having a temperature because I'm hot and sweaty?
Good question.
Possibly, because it's reading your surface temperature. But what we recommend for that situation is that you shouldn't measure people that are sweating, that have just come from a hot environment, that you have like an area, like a cool down place where they just stand there maybe for, it wouldn't take long, 5 minutes, and then you scan somebody. And just like all doctors do, you always check it twice. You never go by one reading. So we recommend that you use like the iPad scanner, like that's behind me, because the person can see themselves and see the temperature. And then you check it with one of the handhelds. But I think just having a handheld unit, especially if you're in an upscale place like an office or a nice restaurant, I just don't think that's the right thing to do, because the person who's administering the handheld is violating social distancing. So that should not be the first line. The first line should be the scanners that you stand back.
So you mentioned that 50 people, that you could take 50 people's temperature at a time. Are you able to see like which person then is in that group of 50, which person specifically has the fever?
You can see within those 50, you get a green box or a red box. And depending on what you've set your parameters at, yes, you can tell who's hot and who's not. Just that quick. The question then becomes is, okay, they're hot. Then what do? You know, do you have somebody that, you know, nicely escorts them to the door and say, I'm sorry, you can't come in? I mean, that's a whole nother issue. But as my professors always said, it's better to know than not to know. And everybody has to be in and take this seriously. And that's all we have right now. People are saying, well, that doesn't make sense, you know, but that's all we have. A mask, social distancing, taking your temperature, and then working on a test. Until we have a vaccine or treatment, you know, we're kind of flying blind here. So these are the things we have, so we should use them. And they're good screening tools.
Yatech Products, is this something you guys have been doing for a long time, or has this been a pivot of yours as a business since this all broke out?
Well, it's kind of yes and no. I'm a previous trauma surgeon, so I was always interested in, say, devastating problems, finding simple solutions. So about 3 years ago, I started a company to prevent, you know, bringing guns in the workplace and violence at schools by providing metal detectors, X-ray equipment, and things like that to prevent guns and deter gun violence. So as early as December, I saw what was happening in Asia, and we were working with our metal detectors at that time with infrared technology to present it to TSA, because in Asia, they have a combination of a metal detector with an infrared camera. So we had started this in January. I had no idea in January of this year that we would end up where we are right now. So we started in January. Our first units that we sold were in March. And since March, we've sold hundreds and hundreds of units with satisfied customers. in the United States and abroad. So, and I think that, of course, it's my company, so I think it's good, but I think, like I said, that's all we have. And with any disease process, you have to use the instruments you have that can make a difference. So I think it's very important because the numbers are going up, and they're going up every day. I mean, 37,000 people showing positive. I mean, yeah, the death rate's going down, but nobody's accounting for what's happening to those people that are getting ill. A lot of people are getting ill. Yeah, they don't die, but they're not the same. They can't breathe. They can't think. They have strokes. They have heart attacks. So it's a big problem, and it's not going away. And everybody who thinks it's not a problem, the only reason they think that because they're not personally connected to somebody who has it. They haven't seen it. To them, it's like the boogeyman. And your parents would put you in bed at night and say, the boogeyman will get you. And you're like, that's no boogeyman. Maybe it is a boogeyman. So everybody, especially young people, since they don't know anybody who's sick, they think, it's not going to happen. But unfortunately, until you get a vaccine or treatment, it is happening. So we have to get smarter. We have to get unified and stop playing games.
Important stuff there. All right, Doctor, thank you so much for stopping on by. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me today.
Check out the lineup of Yates Protect products at yatesprotect.com and keep up with them on social media at Yates Enterprises, which is important stuff. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
I've done the temperature. I had my temperature taken 4 times before 10 a.m. one morning. It was on the 3rd of July, last Friday. And I was like, let's, at least I know. I was like, and I always want to know. I'm always like, wait, what was it? Hold on, tell me. And they're like, it was 98.2 or whatever. So
Yeah.
We have one of the temperature guns, and because we work around people, but he's been playing with it at home, and I'm like, stop. we need it to actually work when it comes time to use it. Interesting, because I've done that. What you just said about taking your temperature after working out, Amy.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's been like really low. Sometimes it's been high, depending on how the body tries to cool itself.
Right. Like if you've been sweating and started walking, now you're cooling down, you could be cooler. Or if you literally just stopped, you're going to be putting out some heat. So, Hey, since we're talking about exercise, there has been a focus on fitness, of course, during this pandemic. Some have dived deep into those at-home workouts. Others have ignored it completely. No, which can't be fallen. You're not alone. Liz Delteris from Studio 3 is here to tell us how to get back in the swing of things, either at home or in the gym. I just started going back to the gym this week. It feels so much better, but man, am I out of shape.
good. How are you doing? Thanks so much for joining us here.
Yeah, thanks for having me so much. How are you?
Yeah.
So tell us
doing good.
the studios that you have. Got a couple here in Chicago, and interesting time to be opening up a gym, but a 3rd location coming soon, right?
Right, absolutely. So Studio 3, we've had 2 locations here in Chicago for about 5 or 6 years now, one in River North, one in Lincoln Park. And yes, we just announced the opening of the Fulton Market location coming in the winter. But Studio 3 is doing, we've grown our community so much even in the last 4 months. I know you just mentioned fitness. It's been hard to get back into in the last 4 months, but I think that Studio 3 has done such an awesome job. The second that we were put into a place where we had stay-at-home orders and we had an entire community to start, because nobody's coming in studio, we were jumped on the virtual train so quickly and started our Live with Studio 3 platform. We started with some live workouts on Instagram that then bled into that Live with Studio 3 platform, where we had 7 to 8 live classes all day long. Hundreds of people were joining those, not just from Chicago, but from New York, from Chicago, or I'm sorry, California, Michigan, Texas, everywhere. And that has been a huge part of helping people just stay grounded, stay healthy while they're at home, and we can still serve that community. So we really did a great job with that Live with Studio 3 platform. And then in the last couple of weeks, we've been able to open up both our River North and our Lincoln Park physical locations. I think you just showed a couple pictures right there of what the studios look like. And I mean, I'm an instructor there, so I might be biased, but I am like blown away by the amount of precautions that they have taken to welcome us back into these studios so safely. We have everything from those plexiglass barriers in between individual stations. So when you go into a room, no matter if you're in the cycle room, you're in the interval room, you're in the yoga room, you are essentially working out almost in your own little plexiglass cubby. It doesn't feel suffocating. It actually feels very fresh and breathable. And we have temperature checks right when you walk in the door. There are hand sanitizing stations everywhere, all around. Everybody's wearing face masks. It feels very clean and sleek. It's not crowded. It's really amazing what they've done to welcome us back into the studio so safely. And then, we all have our preferences of working out right now. Are we going to go in studio? Do we want to keep doing this from home? We still have our Live with Virtual Studio 3 platform. Then we also have our outdoor arena. Have you guys seen the outdoor arena?
No.
No? Well, I think, we might have some pictures of that we can show in the outdoor arena, but it's over at Chestnut in Orleans, down by the River North area. And it's this massive outdoor space that has 50 individual turfed platforms, 6 feet apart, for people to come and work out outside in this amazing hot weather we've been having recently. We have morning classes, noon classes, evening classes. So what I think has been so amazing that Studio 3 is doing, it's offering every level of fitness and workout for every level of comfort that people have right now in our ever-changing world.
Well,
so I would encourage, yeah.
Not only level of comfort in terms of the coronavirus, but I'm someone who had worked out 4 or 5 days a week before this. I tried to keep it up somewhat during quarantine, but now I'm getting back into my gym, and I am just shocked at how much my fitness level has dropped. What do you recommend to people as they're starting to get back into their workouts?
That's a great point. So what I have been saying at the beginning of my classes, and I think goes for all around, especially in the fitness industry and Studio 3, is don't go back at it with the same expectation of what you had at the beginning of March. Probably at the beginning of March, like you said, you were working out 5 days a week. You were going to and from the studio. You were lifting the weights. But now we had a huge change in all of our lives in the past 4 months, and we can't hold ourselves to the same standards that we had then. So we may have been active within our homes, going on runs outside, but our bodies aren't used to moving through the same sort of motions, picking up the same level of weight, and putting us through the same exertion that we were back 4 months ago. So when you re-enter the studio, or maybe you come outdoor to the arena, or maybe you're even pushing yourself a little harder at home on those virtual workouts, you have to just take it and respect where your body is now. Maybe start a little lighter on the weights, build that muscle back up, build that endurance back up. And within a matter of a few weeks, you'll be feeling just as strong and better as ever than you were before too. So that's what I try to say. I'm like, there is no shame in picking up one of those lighter weights that you would have not picked up in March. There's no shame to doing things just with your body weight, maybe adjusting to the heat that we have in classes, maybe adjusting to how you're running on a treadmill versus outdoor on the street and stuff. So we are open arms for people to just come back in and start getting moving in the studio and make their way back up to what you said, feeling comfortable 5 days a week or so.
It's important that you do that because you don't want to injure yourself trying to get back into it just months ago. It is important that you make it a little easy. This is not me right now. What's your message to the person who is just like, I can't get into you should be taking of a little extra time if you have that right now? The person just having a fitness, what would you tell?
So the person that just can't seem to dive into fitness, well, I think that especially if you have that mindset from the last few months that we're all at home, everybody was kind of saying it's kind of hard to get your motivation when you're at home just doing this all on your own. But what's been so great about our virtual platform is a wonderful way to start because you can make dates with friends in a safe manner. You can both log into this virtual platform and say, let's try it out. We're at home. Maybe we're not ready to go to the studio. Maybe we're not ready to be around a ton of people, but let's kind of get our bodies moving and see how we feel. And then there is what I would say is with the outdoor arena even, that's just fun. Honestly, you may think that, oh God, I got to go do this workout class. Oh, I don't know. It's just fun. It's like iconic Chicago. It's right underneath the train. The L train rides right over the arena, graffiti all behind the wall, and 35 to 50 people or so all moving all at once, having fun working out under this nice weather and sun. And then you can kind of feel how your body feels as you ease your way back into a studio with the community, with the weights and things like that. Also, with the weather that we're having right now, I know it's hot, but take advantage of getting outside and going on walks. I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but the city is greener than it's ever been before. We've had so much rain, we've had so much heat. Get out and walk. Start getting those, like that breath and that level of endorphins, and then see where else you can just start moving your body too.
Safety into a gym. What precautions? I mean, really walk us through what people will experience when they're there.
100%. So I can speak for obviously Studio 3 and the experience that the precautions that we set up there, the experience that I have when I walk in the door. So from the second that you walk in the doors at Studio 3, you are almost led through safety structure. So you walk in through the door, you have an in path and you have an out path. So nobody's crossing paths. You're not coming within 6 feet of everyone. You're required to wear a mask coming indoors. Then it takes your temperature with a thermal temperature check where you have to have your mask on for it to even take your temperature. And then if it's anywhere above 100.4 degrees, your body temperature, you are kindly asked to leave the studio because we want to keep everybody safe. You check in for your class and then you go into which studio you are taking class in today. Now, for people who aren't familiar with Studio 3, we're 3 studios in one building. We have a cycle studio, we have an interval studio, which is treadmills and weights and rowing all together, doing high intensity interval training. And then there is this yoga studio that has traditional yoga as well as weighted formats for your workout. So you go into the studio that you are choosing to take your class in that day, and you have barriers set up for where you're going to be working out. Those plexiglass barriers have individual cubby-like areas for you to be working out. In the cycle studio, every bike has its own cubby. Same thing with an interval studio. Every treadmill, rower, and weight station has its own cubby. So you are feeling as though you truly have this barrier in between you and the person working out 6 feet or more from you. But you also are still working as a community because it's clear there are more plants in the room that make it feel a little more vibe of sleek and clean and fresh and healthy. And as we move through the classes, the instructor will stay in our place. We stay at the front of the class. You can perfectly see us from your barrier, your area. And we make sure that distance is kept throughout the entire class. And then you file out, line out one by one, and go on with your day. It's really great, honestly. And then, of course, if that studio doesn't feel safe, like you said, feeling nervous about going back indoors, you just don't know if you're ready to be around people yet. You don't know what you're walking into. Come try the outdoor arena. Come try our Live with Studio 3 platform. It's really up there, every level, for every level of comfort that you have during this time.
Well, if my instead of looking like yours in just a few short months, I am old.
Literally,
come take my class. Come take. Have you guys ever been to? Have you been to Studio 3?
No.
I have. No. I gotta try
you
it.
guys should come. For any of them, come on over and try a class.
First. I'm just trying one studio at a time to build up 3. Okay, that's
well, you can come and try the 1 and then build up to 3. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And you can find Studio 3 on Facebook, Studio and check out their.com. We appreciate it.
Oh, that's great.
She's like, you haven't tried it? It's the latest way. Get to it.
It sounds. I mean, you guys know I love being in a gym.
Right.
Yeah.
If I stood up and showed her my midsection, I think she'd understood that I haven't been there in some time or had a chance to do it. All right, let's move on. Jamie Grossman saw Jamie Grossman saw quarantine as an opportunity to his wedding AV lighting and design company to a unique, safe event experience by bringing the movie theater right to your backyard. I'm someone who's trying to do this on their own. It's a lot harder than it looks, and that's why it's great to have a company do it for you. Jamie, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Hey.
So you, man, I the word more Ross does in that one episode of Friends. That's how you survived. And tell us how you did it.
Absolutely, yeah. We're usually doing events of all sizes, and we were all looking at the trucks in back and thinking, man, I wish we really could do something with these. And looked at some of our gear, figured let's try and project something onto the side of it. And sure enough, it panned out very well. We did a little test run in my neighborhood, and the kids absolutely loved it. The parents loved it. The kids were just kind of sitting together. You know, everyone was staying in their seat. So the parents loved not having to chase the kids around. And within one day, we had over 250 people reaching out through just shares on Facebook.
Wow. Okay. How does it work? You have the truck, and the truck is able to set up in backyard, in the street.
Yeah.
Walk us through it.
So the truck pulls up. It could either set up right in front of the house, in the cul-de-sac, at the end of a street. If your backyard is large enough, it can fit in your backyard. Otherwise, we do have a 20-foot inflatable screen that can go back there as well. But we just set up right in front of the house. It takes about a half hour. We put a few speakers out. We put some uplights up, you know, just to help the ambiance and make you feel like, you know, you're going to the movies. And as you can see with the picture behind me, you know, everybody's able to be socially distant, and everything, you feel like you're out doing something while you're still just with your little group.
And you need access to electrical from the people.
Yep. So yeah, we just need one house load outlet, and everything is, we made sure to create this as simple and easy. So only one person has to come out to set it up. We want to try and limit that as well. And then, yeah, it's just one household outlet. Everything is energy efficient. The lights are all battery powered, so we don't need any electricity there. And everybody's able to just kind of sit around.
Based on the picture behind you, it's dark. Can you do it in the day too, or can you not see it as well during the day?
Unfortunately, with projection, it does need to be a little bit on the darker side. We've been able to start, especially with animated movies, which are usually so much brighter and more colorful, that we're able to start at around dusk, depending on which way the truck is facing. Obviously, it depends on, you know, the sun, which way we're facing as opposed to which way the sun is going down, and if it's cloudy or not. So there's a few variables. However, we have been able to start a little bit earlier. And obviously now with the days, I believe they're starting to get shorter. I think we just had the longest day, didn't we? Or is that coming up?
Losing about a minute of daylight every single day right now.
Yeah, so we're booking through September right now. And the ones towards the end of August, sunset is at 7:30. So we're able to start much earlier for the younger kids. If you're planning on booking it for a younger birthday party, you know, booking it out a little further. And obviously the sun will go down earlier. The kids are in bed at a reasonable time. So yeah, it's been fun.
How much does it cost? Do you have different packages? You know what you guys do?
Yeah, so for residential, it starts at $300. We try to keep it very reasonable for everyone. We weren't looking to make this a moneymaker. This was more of a let's figure out a way to put smiles on people's faces, and just keep even our guys moving. It allows them to just kind of get back into the feel of doing events of some sort. And it keeps us moving, and we love seeing smiles on people's faces. That's why we're in the entertainment business to begin with. We just love bringing joy to people. So seeing all the smiles on the families' faces, on the kids' faces. Sometimes they're up dancing around. If there's a lot of music to it, it's really fun. We've been loving it.
And then what can be shown in terms of movies?
Yeah.
Do we have to worry about, do we have to worry about like copyright or anything like that? What can be shown?
So the clients are in charge of providing the movie. We don't have anything to do with the movie. And because it's still a private event, since it is residential, we don't have to worry about that along with them providing the movie. They provide the device that it gets played on, and we have all the adapters for it. And then, like I said, because it's a private residence, and they're not making money off of this, and they're just using our services. They're using our equipment. that was our way of making sure we don't have to worry about that, because yes, that was one of the first things we thought of when we came up with this idea.
Yeah.
So, need, like,
What's that? Go ahead, Felicia.
do they need like their DVD player? What kind of projectors?
So we could hook up a
You know,
DVD.
I asked that because I'm imagining a projector that we had in elementary school. I imagine
Oh yeah,
it's way better.
it's a little bit further along. Technology has moved a little bit since then. It's not like the overhead projectors that the teachers used to use to teach us math problems and such. But we're able to connect.
We love
Yes, but I don't know if we'd be as popular if we were using those projectors right now. But they could use DVD player. They could use their phones, whether it's an iPhone, an Android, a tablet, a computer. We have all the adapters, so if they download anything, we could just play that right off of their device. Makes
Now,
it really simple.
Felicia is the entrepreneur. She's already trying to make off this. That's why she was asking the copyright.
That's all right.
And she's going to get the audience. So hopefully you can't do this.
There's plenty of people that want to do this. If you want to go right ahead, Felicia, and make some
Don't
money.
ask, don't tell. Don't ask, don't
Hey, right about now, everybody needs a little side hustle, so it's totally fine.
It's the entrepreneurial spirit was celebrated.
Yep.
Are you
absolutely
booked? Are you guys pretty booked? Can you only one of these a night, or do you have many crews that can operate all over the area?
So we have 3 trucks, and then we have the inflatable screen. So we could do 4 events in a night. We've been doing on average 2 to 3 every Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Really cool stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
No problem. And thank you. You can find out all the information on planning your own Lux movie truck party. Lux Productions and at luxproductions.com. That's XE, everybody out there. That sounds fun.
That sounds really fun.
Really fun.
What a cool way to have a team party, have kids socially distance and all that stuff, and enjoy the outside.
Yes. Yeah. Except it's going to be hot out to bring a fan too to plug into the projector.
Yes. Certainly. Let's get it. Certainly. I said
Certainly. No shirt.
No shirt.
No, certainly.
We're into the 80s already. We are on our way to the low 90s today. 94 will be the high temperature. And as the next 7 days play out, we're going to be kind of going here. I'll just draw you a little graph of how it's going to go. Or no, this way. Hot. And then the weekend will be a little bit cooler.
Yay!
And then here, this looks great. Less humid this Saturday right here. And Sunday and Monday, and again, not bad. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. Hot. And then hot again. That makes sense?
Perfect.
Yeah.
I like your graphic.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Hey guys, we're going to be back at 2 o'clock about everything from blood drives to a Chicago work to house the homeless, and ESPN producer John